Hi, Doctor. We
Yeah,
have Dr. RP today with us. I'm Mala. We just, wanting to, do this call to bring in awareness on day-to-day topics in maintaining healthy life choices. As we all know, Dr. RP is a orthopedic surgeon living in UK, and he's also our neighborhood doctor running this I Want Second Opinion initiative, where he's doing it as a service to give it back to the community. So yeah, Dr. RP, welcome.
yeah. Hi, Mala. Thanks for being here. It's a nice opportunity to have a discussion on some of the common subjects which will be useful to the common public. Let's hope it comes out well.
Yeah, so today, Doctor, we wanted to kind of touch upon the base of the when we talk about health. The first thing which everybody starts is BMI, the body mass index. Now, I just wanted you to kind of tell us in simple terms, like what is BMI and why is it a very important metric in assessing the health.
Yeah. Sure. It's my favorite topic, in fact. See, if we see any individual, uh, we can assess them and we can tell that. But if it is going to be tagged with a constant parameter, for example, if the height of the individual, which is almost is going to be a constant figure because we are not going to alter in height time and time again. So if we are going to peg the weight of our body to the height of an individual, so it is a ratio, it is a metric essentially. And this is useful because it's a numerical representation of the individual's body fat based on the height and the weight. We use this tool commonly in the healthcare for assessing whether a person has got healthy body weight or not. Because a 60 kilogram individual who is, say, around 170 centimeters and an 80 kilogram individual with 180 centimeters, both are going to be the same. We cannot tell the difference between the weight in both the circumstances. So if you are going to keep the height as a constant figure, then we can create a ratio between the both. And healthy BMI is crucial as it correlates with lower risks of various health conditions like heart diseases, diabetes, hypertension, say even walking and stuff like that. In all the day-to-day activities, if either we are going to be on the lower BMI side of the normal or the higher BMI side of the normal, it is going to have its effects both immediately and also in the midterm and in the long-term future. So that is the reason why we bring in a ratio or metric called BMI. This is a medical terminology essentially, but it is almost used on a day-to-day basis nowadays.
Right. So you're saying it is a ratio between height and weight. But is it like any different, any other specific factor you would consider for
Go into the internet and if you Google search BMI calculator, immediately thousands of websites will be showing BMI calculator. So it's not a magic stuff or anything at all. It's a very simple process. I will tell you what I do. Whenever I wake up in the morning, after finishing all my regular morning duties and stuff like that, my first activity of the day is essentially weighing my weight on a scale. Yeah. Uh, Nowadays, there are digital scales that are available with Bluetooth functionality. And this one, when you stand on it, it immediately gives you the BMI, the body fat percentage, the skeletal mass percentage, everything comes out immediately in the phone as well. But what I tend to do is, it's a very simple process. My height is, say, around 167 centimeters. Every day, I stand on the scale and I measure on the scale. Yeah. if with the dress on, then always get the weight on a dress on every day. Otherwise, as per your wishes, you can calculate that as well. So it is how it is calculated is it is height in meter. BMI is going to be anywhere between 18.5 to 24.9. It is normal weight. And above this, who has got high fat, meaning there is one another ratio, which is called as a hip to weight ratio. Here, usually the deposition of fat happens in the waist area in most of the individuals. So that ratio is important as well, but we don't insist on that on a regular basis unless otherwise we have got some suspicions of this guy is definitely fit. How come the BMI is going to be high and stuff like that? So we use BMI as a screening tool because it is very simple and it has got broad applicability. But the limitation is it does not account for the muscle mass or the distribution of the fat. That's what it is about. So hopefully, yeah, if you are going to be between 18.5 to 24.9, we are within normal limits. See, there is also a direct correlation here. Traditionally speaking, for Asians, especially Indians, what they tell is we do have small, narrow blood vessel that supplies the heart, the coronaries. Okay. So in Indians and in Asians, they tell that although the normal range can be anywhere between 18.5 to 24.9, it has been advised that we better keep our BMI at the range of 22 to 23 in order taking into calculation that the lumen of our blood supply in the heart is slightly narrow. So we need to be cautious about where we maintain our BMI.
In those terms, you're saying that you need to keep it on the lower side of the WHO norm.
Yes, not necessarily lower side, but yeah, somewhere in the mid-range of the norm, essentially.
So
22 to 23 is a good BMI. And if it is going to be erroring every day, so you can next day be cautious about it and reduce. For example, 2 days ago, if you have your BMI, say, was around 23 a week ago. For the past 1 week, you are on a binging spree, and if the BMI has gone to 24 or something of the sort, then you can become immediately conscious about it. And you can go on for some intermittent fasting or reducing your carbs or reducing your fat intake and stuff like that. So it's sitting everywhere in and around the waist, which you cannot measure, obviously, but that's what it is about.
Interesting. You're also talking about, interestingly, when you said that I could be very fit and I could have a higher BMI because of my muscle mass or fat.
That's right.
Right now, so one assumes whenever we are calculating the BMI, if we are within the range, we are safe. But is there anything, specifically alarming when I should be concerned? For example, if I come out within the range of BMI, but what do you say that I'm fine and I can go ahead with life without any?
Yes. See, there is not going to be any immediate effect of this. This is going to be see how it happens is there are three ways it can affect an individual. One is it affects the heart by the fat gets deposited on the tube of the blood supply to the heart, thereby narrowing the blood supply of the coronaries to the heart, number one. Number two is high blood pressure. Number three is diabetes. These are the three things that can happen with high BMI. Of course, the other thing is whenever you are going to walk or do exercises and stuff like that, let me ask you a question. You are walking as an individual. Imagine you have got a baby who is, say, around a child, rather, who is, say, around 7 kilograms or 8 kilograms. Between you walking, normally as an individual, alongside of you carrying the baby, how do you think how far you will be able to walk in both scenarios? Do you think that there will be any difference at all here in the
Absolutely.
amount? Yeah,
Absolutely. The speed and the speed at which I walk, of course, is affected. And
yeah,
after some time, the distance I have to stop because this baby starts becoming heavier on me. So obviously I have to stop.
exactly. And the pressure that goes on the knees, your hips, and your foot, and your ankle, your
On my
shoulder,
back.
etc., hurts. Yeah. So it is a kind of a very similar kind of an effect. Like, for example, if you have been putting on weight unknowingly, it is like carrying a 7 kilogram baby with you, knowingly or unknowingly, and carrying it all the time. So imagine the amount of wear and tear that can get associated with this and etc. because of the high BMI. I'm not telling that it's going to be instantaneous just like that, but yes, apart from the blood pressure, diabetes, and stuff that can happen over a period of time, it's a slow poison. So if we can avoid it, well and good. So it's better to keep a tab on that essentially.
So what would you
One is, see, we can talk about the BMI management strategies, i.e. the weight management strategies. There are two ways of looking at it. One is essentially considering called as a conservative line of management, which will involve, say, lifestyle modifications, dietary counseling, promoting physical activity. Then we can also health educate individuals regarding the so-called macronutrients, which are essentially the carbohydrate, protein, fat, etc. It's all about health education here. A lot of people, whenever we are eating food, especially in our Indian population, what happens is we are not that health aware. Yeah, of course, a lot of people are aware. I'm sorry, I should not be generalizing it. For a certain group of people who are not aware of exactly what is happening, the importance of any food and its macronutrients in the form of carbohydrate, protein, and fat, that which percentage of what gives it is a kind of a fine balance between the amount of food what you eat and amount of energy what you spend by the activities what you do. If both are going to be the same, then your weight is going to be static. On the contrary, if you are going to go on a negative calorific balance, i.e. you are spending more energy than the amount of food that you take, then you go into the negative caloric balance and thereby the weight stops to come down. On the other side, if you are going on a positive energy balance, unfortunately, your waistline is going to go higher. So that is important essentially. Lifestyle modification, yes, we can try and incorporate anything and everything with some kind of a physical activity. Like if you're a computer kind of a person, make sure that every half an hour, 1 hour, you go and walk, and make sure that at the end of the day, you go for evening walks. There are some strategies regarding achieving 10,000 steps per day. All those kind of stuffs are there. Most importantly, promoting the physical activity. This is the core important thing as regards to the BMI management strategy is concerned. But for extremely high BMI individuals, what we can say is there are help that are available from medical, surgical perspective, but let's not go into those kind of details. I'm here, let's discuss essentially two lifestyle modifications, dietary counseling. Yeah.
How do you kind of course, how do you identify it and how do you manage it? Probably that, starting with that and going after that as to how to kind of bring in the lifestyle change and, bring in the balance about the food you eat and the various components of food, protein, carbs, and everything we take. So we're going to kind of discuss on that. I think the next topic probably for me would be to kind of say what is this muscle and fat, how do we tone the muscle, how do we melt the fat. I think that would be an interesting topic for us on the
for sure. Yeah. One thing here, what I can tell is, see, you would have seen one of your friends or your next door neighbor, he'll be eating a lot, okay? He'll be binging a lot. In contrast, you might be nibbling bits and pieces, okay? But what will happen is, sometimes it's so frustrating. That chap who binges will not put on weight, but you who will be just nibbling a little bit pieces, you will be putting on weight.
Always true for all of us, I guess. Who's struggling to lose weight. I think we have and combined with that, being a woman, I think we have a lot of hormonal changes, which is bringing down the metabolism.
Exactly, you are point blank on that. Essentially, see, the role of genetics plays significantly here, in the sense that there is something called as a BMR, not the BMI, which is basal metabolic rate. Like, what happens is, from genetic factors, it might influence the individual basal metabolic rate, which is essentially the amount of energy that is expended when an individual is at rest. For some individuals, the BMR is high, which means whilst they are taking rest itself, the amount of energy that they might be burning might be more when compared to certain individuals whose BMR is less. So you might belong to a category wherein you nibble a small bit, but your BMR threshold shoots up immediately with the lower level itself. So if you're a low BMR individual with small amount of food intake itself, you will start putting on weight. That's so unfortunately. The other thing also is genetically, I'm talking about where exactly the fat gets deposited in the body. That's also another interesting thing here, essentially. Majority of us, the place wherein the fat gets deposited is the waist. It is easy to put the weight on the waist, and it is hard to get rid of that fat from the waist. But for sure, I think we should meet quite often. Let's discuss about other common topics.
Yeah, I have a lot of topics for you, so lined up. So I'm going to come.
Interesting. Okay.
All right.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. Yeah, bye.
Thank you, Mala. Take care. Bye-bye. Ciao.